forever that all of this is happening. But eventually the ambulance got there and they started doing the paddle, telling everybody to move back. They're going to shock him. And they did that 3 times and nothing. And he was dead completely. And so they asked me, how long do you think it's been? And I said, probably about 10 minutes. And I could tell they didn't want to do it again.
Yeah, well, like it says, you are dust, and to dust you will return. But not today. This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. In these encounter stories with angels, divine intervention, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences, I'm your host, Trapper Jack. And we are in the first week of Lent. Some of us just a few days back got our ashes right there, looking like you lost a fight with a fireplace. Yep. A little reminder that, yes, we are biodegradable. And this is the story of Mark and Carol. And Mark is the one who appears dead, is dead for 10 minutes. And then, oh God, sometimes God says, hey, dust, get back up. And usually, I ask, why do you think you survived? What is God saving you for? But nobody knows. Maybe down the road, you get a little theory on why God does what God does. But, we're going to talk to Mark and Carol about this life-changing event. And you guys are where?
We're in Billings, Montana.
A lovely place to be, especially this time of year.
Actually, we've had spring all winter.
See, I'm in Cleveland, and for some reason, we got winter this year. And it's been down to like 10 degrees, single digits. It's hit 0. We just went on a retreat. We left the house and went where it's a lot warmer. We walk in and we find out our furnace died while we were gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we're carrying space heaters around with us in the house. It's like, let's put it in the bathroom and go get a shower. Anyway, and this story is basically about Mark, right?
It is his story.
Yeah.
You talk a little bit, Mark.
Well, it's kind of my story, yes and no. It all started out, we were going on a trip. We were going to go to Rome, which we eventually did do. Rome has a lot of walking involved. So we went down to this college near our house, and they have these outside staircases for fire escapes. And so it would be a good place to train to walk and get a lot of steps and be outside. So we were down there and we were walking along, and we got done and I was feeling good, and we were getting in the car, and that was kind of the last thing I remember, except we were driving up this road. It's a fairly busy road. About halfway through, I said, read me about those Spanish steps.
But you don't remember.
I don't remember asking that.
No.
I'll let her tell her from there, because I don't remember the next 3 days.
The next 3 days.
He doesn't even remember getting in the car after we got. And I asked him if he wanted to take his nitroglycerin tablets. And
because I have a heart condition.
He's had it for many years. And he said, no, I feel great. We get to that intersection, and I think we had gone maybe 20 feet, and the light was green, thankfully. If it was red, we probably would have had a car accident along with his dying. But when I looked over, he had the worst look on his face. It was just a horrifying look, and I could tell he wasn't breathing. So at that point, I just pushed the button to stop the car.
So you hit the button that turns off the motor.
Right, and I have no idea how long he's been gone.
Yeah.
Because I was reading. I wasn't looking at him. So this could have happened a block before that. I have no idea. But then I thought, I need to call 911.
You forgot to tell him, though, when you pushed the button.
Oh, yeah.
It locked the car.
Yeah.
So she couldn't get out.
Exactly. It shuts off all the electronics to the car. So the lady at the dispatch office asked me all the information, where I was in town, and, all the horrible, it just seems like they're asking you 50 questions instead of sending the ambulance, just send the ambulance.
And the car is just there in the middle of the road?
Right in the middle of the road. And it's like the main artery in Billings from east to west. But she said, you need to get him out. No, she didn't say get him out. She said, you need to lay him flat and start chest compressions. So I try to open the door, and I'm locked in because everything shut down. So that's when I really started praying was, Lord, please help me, because I tried this button, that button. Nothing would open the door. And finally I said, God, please help me get out of this car. And I tried the handle again and it opened. But to me, it was just amazing because I tried it before and it hadn't worked, and now it did. So I got out, kept my phone with me, ran over. The dispatcher said, just get him out of the car and lay him down on the street. So right at that point, right as she said that, this little guy, which I call elderly, but he's probably the same age I am. You know how that is. This elderly guy. But the thing is, he's half my size. And between the two of us, we couldn't even lift Mark's leg off the seat.
I'm about 210 pounds.
Yeah, but a dead weight, and he was dead. And so I
So
have
he's
no
still,
idea how
Mark
much
still
time has
doesn't look
gone
like he's
by.
breathing. Nothing's going on. He's just there.
Oh, no, he's dead completely. And that horrible look's still on his face.
Mm.
And right at that point, and by this time, people had stopped. You know, a lot of people were going by, but some people had stopped. And this man appears out of nowhere. And he wasn't like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything. He was just a normally built man. He came over, lifted Mark up like he was a baby, and laid him down on the street and immediately started CPR and kept doing that. Because, you know, it seems like forever that all of this is happening. But eventually the ambulance got there and they started doing the paddles, you know, telling everybody to move back. They're going to shock him. And they did that 3 times and nothing. And then I could tell, you know, it was like, and so they asked me, how long do you think it's been? And I said, probably about 10 minutes. And I could tell they didn't want to do it again. But one of the men said, let's try it one more time. And they tried it. And then they said, we've got a breath, get the gurney. So they brought a gurney out of the ambulance, loaded him into that. Now, all of these people are around there. And there were men, one man said he jumped in and put the brake on because the car was still in gear. And Mark's foot, once it came off, the car started rolling back down the street. So a man jumped in, stopped the car. Another man gathered up all of his things, like his sunglasses and everything that had fallen on the street, gave those to me. Another lady said, honey, do you have any keys? And I said, no, I didn't even bring my purse because we were just going walking. So they quick got Mark's car keys out of his pocket. And then otherwise I would have been left there with a car that I couldn't even operate.
Right.
In the middle of the street. So anyway, they load him up in the ambulance, and I don't even take time to talk to anyone, thank anyone. I just get in the car. And all the way there, you know, that surrender prayer, that's what I was praying. It was just, Jesus, I give myself to you, take care of everything, just over and over and over. When I got there, he was in the hospital somewhere, and they wouldn't let me in to see him. I had to stay in the waiting room with all these people, and I kept going up way too often. And I thought they were going to probably throw me out if I asked one more time if they knew anything. And it was 45 minutes of waiting, but
you don't know if he's dead or alive for 45 minutes?
No, they wouldn't tell me. I didn't know if he survived the trip to the hospital, but I used that time to call everybody I knew who would pray. So there were at least 3 prayer chains in 3 different churches that were praying. But the main one was my daughter, who would not answer her phone when I called her. She didn't answer her text. And I'm thinking, of all the people who could touch heaven, it's our daughter, and she won't answer me. She doesn't know what's going on. Well, she did know what was going on. She was in a conference with 500 faith leaders from all over the world. And when she got my message, she stopped that conference and asked everybody to pray for her dad. So I didn't know that till later.
Wow. That's a wow moment in that room.
Yes. And probably, you know, right at the end of that 45 minutes, this little nun came out and she called my name. And I said, I'm Carol. And she said, do you want to go to the family room where it'll be a little bit more private? And my heart just sank. I thought, oh, he's gone. Why would she be? You know how you think the worst. So we go in there and I said, what's going on? And she said, they're running some tests. And I said, well, is he alive? And she said, they wouldn't be running tests if he wasn't alive. Well, you might have told me that, right?
Sounds like a nun I had once, yeah.
So she prayed with me, and then someone came in and said that we could go in. So she came into the ER with me. And I probably shouldn't tell this part. I guess I'm going to do it anyway. When we got in there, Mark was talking and laughing and making everybody laugh. And when the little nun came in with me, he said to her, "You're kind of cute." And I think, Mark, what is that? Stop it.
I think I was reverting back to my old high school personality.
Yeah.
And
Something going on
to
there.
sum it up, I was the guy that you'd never want your daughter to date in high school. I guess, I don't remember any of this.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't remember anything that he was saying. But the doctor said to me, "We need your permission to run all of these tests again." And I'm thinking, and see, at this time, I didn't know that Mark doesn't remember anything. I'm thinking he's fine. But they said, we've run the test, and all it indicates is that he has high blood sugar. And we can't put him in ICU. We need to put him in ICU for 4 to 5 days. That's the protocol after someone has had cardiac arrest. But we can't do that with the test showing this. So I said, well, yes, do whatever you need to do.
So the test was showing that no big deal, he's fine, to be about yourself. And meanwhile, he's been dead for seemingly several minutes.
At least 8 minutes, more likely 10 or more. And he's talking, he's alert, but I gave him permission to do the test. They came back the same way. And so then there's a whole bunch of doctors and nurses looking at these tests and saying out loud to me, "This is a miracle. We can't put him up in the ICU. We'll just send him up to the heart tower." And so he was dead on Wednesday night. On Thursday, they put in a defibrillator in his chest. And on Friday, they sent him home. And they said, they gave him all these instructions, what he can't do. And almost all of them were like, well, I don't do that anyway, like run a jackhammer. But the worst thing was he couldn't drive for 6 months.
And we're traveling sales reps. So that was kind of a blow.
Well, it was mainly because of the defibrillator. That has to be completely healed up. And he had to sit in the back seat, because if he was sitting in the passenger seat and the airbag went off, it would dislodge it. It has to be completely healed up. And it usually takes about 6 months to do that. So we're thinking, oh, great. But also we're thinking, well, there goes our trip. We were going on this cruise. And so, but we didn't cancel it, which is kind of amazing. We just, I don't know if we weren't thinking of it. I don't know what. We didn't cancel it, but we went back 6 weeks after the defibrillator was put in. And again, they ran all the tests. And then it's like, this is kind of a miracle, because you are completely healed up and you're free to resume your life. You still can't operate a jackhammer, but...
Which was a real blow, I'm sure.
But he drove home. And he said, well, they said I could drive. And I thought, yeah, but not today, because the last time you drove, it didn't go so well. And I figure, if God took care of him, which he did like that, who am I to say, no, you can't,
all of it just feels very, very touched, doesn't it? All of it just feels divine.
Yes, exactly. And probably for, maybe 6 months after that, I told everybody that I ran into about what happened to Mark. Some guy would come into our house to fix something, and he didn't leave here without me telling him about what God had done for him.
Obvious question for you, Mark, is that while you were gone to wherever you were gone, any experiences, or were you just out?
No, I was just out. I've gotten that question about 500 times.
First from me, because I was so excited that maybe he had like in so many of your stories, that people call in. And I said, did you see Jesus? Did you see angels or lights? And what did you say?
I didn't see a thing. It was just nothing.
So as far as you're concerned, Mark, I mean, you went away. You don't even remember getting in the car. And then what is your first memory of, oh, here I am. What just happened? Where were you?
We were on our way home from the hospital.
You don't remember anything until you're going home.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess our son and daughter-in-law came to visit, and everybody was telling me what a great doctor, the guy who put the defibrillator in. I don't remember him at all. Anything. My first memory is on our way home, just about at this passing the same place where I passed out the first time. So
where you died.
Where I died the first time.
Yeah, because you are dust, and to dust you will return, but not today. Today, it's 10 minutes, it's no oxygen, it's no brain damage, it's no explanation other than God being God for whatever God's purposes here. We're going to have more with Mark and Carol. First, quick Patreon shout out. Thank you, Pat and Penny Leone, for being members of our Patreon family, our happy Patreon family. Thank you so much for making this go.
Well, I thank you for being there. You are such a unique, you and Elizabeth both are so unique, and your ministry is completely the only one in the world like it is. And so I'm very grateful for you.
Ain't you sweet? See how sweet you are? See? Yeah. Thanks again, Penny and Pat. Come here to touchbyheaven.net. It's episode 407, or go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack.
Well, Mark's in control of our finances, and I have been bugging him forever to become Patreon or something like that.
Patreon is one of the ways you can do it. That's one of the ways, yeah. We'll emboss your name on the furnace.
You know what you need to do, Trapper, is send a 13-year-old kid out to tell us how to do all this stuff.
Boy, isn't that the case? How did you guys start listening to the podcast, Carol?
Well, years ago, I listened to Art Bell and George Norrie, and I listened to George occasionally. And one of the occasions, you were on there, but it just really caught my attention. And I just started listening to you. There was somebody you talked to, somebody's story you told. Oh, it just really captured my attention. And then almost every Sunday, it's the same thing. And if there's something that I think Mark would be interested in, I have him listen to you, the same program that I listened to while I was making breakfast. We listen to it on the way to church. And if we don't get through it all, we listen on the way home. And there's a verse that I say every night. I have several things that I fall asleep saying things. And one is, I'm going to make sure I say it exactly right. It's Psalm 73:28. But as for me, it's good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I will tell of all your deeds. And there's nothing in there about I'll only tell the deeds that involve angels or lights or voices. It says, I'll tell all your deeds. And I think we have so many miracles that happen to us that we're just totally unaware of because, it's like, well, like some people have said, well, it's so good that we have modern medicine. And I'm thinking, yeah, but even those doctors said this is a miracle.
Just as you said, I will tell all, say it again, I will tell all of his deeds.
I will tell of all your deeds.
Yeah. Oh, if we all, you know what, if we all actually did that, we would be confirming each other's faith and we wouldn't be walking around sleepwalkers, just kind of oblivious. Because his hand is involved in everything, as you know. Well, you've listened to the episode for years, and so these things are happening all over, little things, big things,
So anyway, that's basically the story, and he's been faithful ever since. That was, 3 years ago?
And even this past year, we went on another cruise, and he was 2 weeks out from a heart valve replacement. And I thought I was going to be bringing him home in a box because he couldn't stand up. And Brenda, the excursion hostess on the catamaran, when I told her what was happening with Mark, there are people all around, she's serving drinks. She raises up her hands and in a really loud, commanding voice says, "In the name of Jesus, that man will make it through the trip. His wife will enjoy the day, and he will be fine."
Amen.
And she lives in St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I know about her. But Brenda, if you're listening, you are amazing.
And the prophetic words came true?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And nobody would help us because I think they thought he was drunk. And we don't even drink. So, but he was falling down. He almost fell in the water, in the ocean. Brenda said at the last minute to someone, "Help him," because he was falling off the dock into the water. It was just awful. But we made it, and now he's planning our next cruise. And that man that was on, I think last week or the week before, there was someone on who said, to me, he sounded like a really young guy, but he said everything he went through, it was because he was supposed to tell his story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm asking you if you remember your programs, but
I couldn't agree more. We are all exactly where God wants us, and we're all being tested the way God tests, in a good way, to bring us in closer. And when things go awry, it's just to make us lean on God the more. I'm just so much more appreciative of that, because if you can get to that place, whether it's with Jesus or the Father, the Holy Spirit, where you have no anxiety, you have no worry, because you are just totally reliant on God. And in that spot, there is no panic. There's nothing. It's just, I'm with God. I'm listening to Peter Urbeck right now, who is part of Renewal Ministries, and he's talking exactly about this. We have absolutely nothing to fear. Christ already died. We have died with the crucified Christ. What we have right now, when you have Jesus in you, when you have the Holy Spirit in you, we shouldn't be afraid of anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
right.
And he even had people chanting with them, "I'm going to die soon. I'm going to die soon." That should not bother you. That's the doorway to where you want to get to. Everyone wants to go to heaven. No one wants to die to get there. And it's like he wasn't trying to, I know this sounds crazy, but he wasn't trying to be weird about it. It's like, here's the facts. Everybody lives, everybody dies. Now what, right? And we are
Right.
eternal beings. Carol, you're going to be around forever. Mark, you're going to be around forever. I'm going to be around forever. Not here. This is the testing ground, and this is the place where we're just being loved by God. All we got to do is return the favor, and those around us just have to get up every day and run the playbook, and we're all going to be just fine. But just know, in this moment right now, whatever is going on in your life, God is with you, completely with you. You're never alone. And so there should be no anxiety. It sounds weird. If the readings the last couple of days have been from James, where he basically says, who cares? Rejoice. Rejoice in the fact that everything's falling apart. It's okay. We got Jesus, And it sounds crazy.
And on your show, people who have had near-death experiences and did come back and say, and the way they describe it, and we hear that and we think, oh, that sounds so great. But then it's like it says, God put an ugly face on death so that we wouldn't try to shorten our lives here. Because if we knew for sure what, we hear the stories, but if we saw what it was like, we would all want to go there right now.
Yeah.
And not finish what we're supposed to be here.
You know
for.
what, though? They say the early martyrs basically did run to martyrdom just to be with Jesus. Just to be with God, just to be in heaven.
Yeah.
The early martyrs really got it. It was like, oh, you're going to kill me? All right. All righty then. I'm reading the book I mentioned with Josh about, it's called He Leadeth Me. And it's like, here the Russians, the Soviets, have him in prison, and they're threatening him with everything. We're going to kill you. Great, get to go home early. I mean, it's just that kind of mentality.
Right.
But we live in this, and the world says, be afraid of death. The world said, remember COVID? Oh my gosh. The whole world just came to this stop, just so afraid. And I remember we have a deacon in our church who, in the midst of all of this, when it wasn't real popular to say this yet, he said, at the church, You know what the church is supposed to do? The church is not responsible to save lives. It's responsible to save your soul.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And everyone was so caught up in we were all so afraid of death, and that's the world. And I know not everybody's there because death is sad. I'm not saying it's not sad. It's horrifyingly sad when you lose somebody, especially when they're young or when you've been with them forever, and now you feel lost and where am I? I get all that, but in that moment, God is still there.
Was it during the Spanish flu and also during the plague where the church, the Christians were the ones that went out and helped the sick, buried the dead, because they weren't afraid of dying. And people were, everybody was hiding in their houses like during the pandemic.
Yeah, there were church services actually out in the street so people could see the services or come out or whatever the deal was. Yeah, that was World War I, Spanish flu time. Yeah. I don't stay in the spot I'm talking about right now. I'm human. But it's funny, and again, just going to the stupid furnace thing. And it's like, whatever. That's this world. Okay, you got to live in this world, and you got to, whatever. But we belong to God.
Oh, that's great.
At the end of your show, you always ask, what's the takeaway? And I was thinking about that. And for me, the takeaway in all of this, and I don't know if you're ready to ask this or not, but that
this is the longest Mark has ever talked on the telephone.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not a big telephone guy, but the biggest takeaway is that no matter what you see or what's happening around you, God is faithful. And like you said, the answer may not be here, but the answer is somewhere. And it's gonna be good. And he's always faithful. He's always taking care of you.
If you know him, though.
If you know him, yeah.
Amen. He's right here if you know him. I know. When we talk about prayers being answered, and there you are praying, Carol. You're praying for Mark. It's like it's like door be opened. It opened. Be great if you could breathe again, and he did. Whatever. It's just he is. He's ever faithful. I also like the idea that, people talk about prayers being answered. He says yes, he says no, he says wait, and he also says, I've got a better answer than yes or no. I have a better answer. And what he showed through Mark, I think, Carol, is a better answer. It's like he put you through an experience just to reinforce for you guys and for us listening just how amazing God is, that you had an angel come up and suddenly just pick up your husband, that two of you couldn't move a leg. Doors are opening, 3 defibrillator shocks. No, let's try a 4th. And then there's a little breath, and there should be brain damage even if he does survive, and there isn't. And it's like, I can drive, and what?
And the funny part, the angel turned out to be a dentist here in town. And he said that dentists are so well trained in CPR, much more so than doctors. And he was just happened to be driving down the street right at that time.
Oh, so you did find the guy who lifted him out of the car?
Well, I actually put out a notice. I'm not on Facebook, but I put it out on a neighborhood website and told where it happened and said, anybody who was there, I want to thank you. I'm sorry I didn't thank you in person, but I wanted to get down to the hospital really fast. And someone said, I think I know who that man was who lifted him out of the car. And sure enough, and we send him a card every Christmas and thank him for every Christmas that we've had since then, that he just happened to be going down that street right at that time. And he didn't hesitate. He didn't ask what was going on. He didn't say one word to me. That's why I thought he was probably an angel. But turns out he was a dentist angel.
Dentist/angel. That's great. How do you strike me, Carol. Obviously, you're a nice woman and all of those good things, and you're prayerful. But what's your prayer life like? Course of a day?
Well, we try to pray together in the morning. We use the YouVersion Bible app, and we do that together. And then I'm one of those people that just kind of talk to God all day. I look out this morning, there was a robin out, the first robin of the spring. And I'm like, oh, Lord, thank you for, spring's on the way. And there's that robin, that kind of person. But at night, that's when I do most of my praying. Who is that? He just scrubbed the floors in a monastery, and I have his book somewhere, but he just prayed all day while he was working. Do you know that father, that priest?
It's not Brother Lawrence.
He has a little book.
Is it Brother
Yes,
Lawrence?
yes, that's him.
Okay.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, where everything is a prayer. That's the same as Teresa of Lisieux. Her whole thing was no matter what she was doing, picking up a scrap of paper off the floor, it was like everything was a prayer. Everything was a prayer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just, when I'm working on the house, I'm like, oh, Lord, thank you for whoever invented the dishwasher. I just pray for our appliances, and I pray all this stuff. I don't know. I just like, everything is a miracle to me. The bulbs are coming up, and I just thank God for all of it.
Well, what I love about your prayer though is that it starts with gratitude. One of my favorite things in the Bible is Moses. I've said this a million times. Moses before he died and before the Israelites went into the Promised Land said, You're going to be living in homes. You didn't build them. You're going to have vineyards. You didn't grow them. You're going to have cisterns, and you didn't dig them. And think about everything we have today. It's multiplied times 1 billion. Just like all the stuff in your phone, or the stuff, just all this. As I look around this office, just stuff. I didn't make any of this stuff. Somebody did. What's the takeaway for you, Carol?
Oh, I think it's just know that wherever you are, when you call on the Lord, He's going to hear you. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to get down on your knees and say a big rote prayer or anything. Like my prayer in the car was, God, help me. That was it. God, help me. And then all the way to the hospital, just surrendering, Mark. You take care of it. You take care of it. Because there's so little we can actually control. We just have to throw ourselves on His mercy every minute, every day.
Beautiful. This has been great, guys. I've enjoyed this.
Well, I can't believe we're actually talking to you for real, not just listening.
Yeah, I didn't think what actually happened ever.
Well, I'm actually AI. Trapper couldn't be here today. It's amazing how this stuff works.
It's been fun talking to you. God bless you.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Mark. I'm just thinking about this all over again. I mean, okay, so he's gone for 10 minutes. There's no pulse. There's no oxygen. There's no brain damage. And there's not even enough sign of what's going on here to even put him in the ICU. Can't see anything here to put you in the ICU. And then Mark's totally oblivious for 3 days on his way home. Hey, where have I been? Just God doing his thing, just God.
But as for me, it's good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I will tell of all your deeds. It's Psalm 73:28.
To dust you will return, but not today, says God. All righty. See you next week. You're here. Are you going to be here next week? Check your calendar. No dust? Good. See you next week here at Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack. Any final words, Mark?
I don't remember any of this.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't remember anything that he was saying.